Let's give it up for the citywide Gold Star. Let's give it up for the citywide Gold Stars. We're going to try that again. Thank you. Good afternoon, Baltimore. Y'all deaf today? We not here today? Good afternoon, Baltimore. Thank you. Today, we are here because the entire city of Baltimore believes we should have better recreation facilities for our children. Make some noise if you believe that. However, Baltimore, for decades in our city, it's been just that, a belief with no action at all, minimal action. So, we can continue to be all talk about recreation in Baltimore, or we can have action to make recreation in Baltimore 21st century and better for all. For the majority of my life, I attended recreation centers and park hikes that would be considered unacceptable in most cities. But that's all we had. Whether it was J.D. Gross, where these young men and women come from, whether it was Tawanda Recreation Center, or whether it was C.C. Jackson, they were all substandard, and most adults would not send their children to them. However, today, my childhood recreation center, C.C. Jackson, was reopened as a 21st century recreation center built for all, gorgeous, something that everyone in America would want to send their young people to. But that's not enough. Also today, the gym at the brand new Rita Church Recreation Center was open so that those young people not only have a 21st century recreation center, but also a national, the model for this gym is so awesome that people across the country will want to send their young people to that recreation center. But that's still not enough. There's still too many neighborhoods and too many children across our city that do not have access to 21st century recreation centers. I'll be the first to tell you that if it is a building, even if it says recreation center on the outside and it does not have a full gym, it is not a recreation center. It is a glorified meeting room that we should not accept for our young people. We should want more for our young people. If it does not, they do not have the ability to do the programming that they want in 21st century, what the young people want. Not what I want, not what people older than me want, not what people that have been in recreation centers or in communities around recreation centers for 50 and 60 years want, then we have to do better. There is a plan. Recreation and Parks has a great plan, capital plan to improve recreation throughout the city of Baltimore, bring us out of the 1960s and into the 2000s so that we can have top-notch recreation throughout this city. But any plan without action and funding is not worth the paper that it's printed on. So here today, we are here to ask for action. That's what we're about. We are here for action. We have to get the city united. We can no longer be all talk. Anyone can say, oh yeah, we need better recreation centers in the city. But what are you going to do to make it happen? Are you going to sign a petition to make it happen? Are you going to march on City Hall to make it happen? Are you going to go and pressure everybody from your federal officials down to your city council official to make it happen? What are you going to do as a person, as a citizen of Baltimore, someone who cares about young people to make it happen? What are you going to do? This map that I'm holding in my hand is from 1967. It's from the Department of Recreation and Parks, and it says what recreation centers in the city of Baltimore should look like by the year 1985 when I was just a 1-year-old baby. This plan mirrors the plan that we have today in 2016, which means that for over 40 years we have done nothing. And we can no longer do that. This plan actually states that some of the centers that we want to expand in our neighborhoods, like Heron Run Recreation Center, nearby North Hartford, should be complexes that regions of people in our city can come to. But we didn't do it. We just accepted the substandard that we have in so many of our neighborhoods where young people come to a rec center and they can't even play basketball. When young people come to a rec center and they don't even have a computer room. When young people come to a rec center and they don't have a workout room where they can't do fitness or yoga, or they don't have video games, or they don't have a pool to swim in. That's unacceptable. So that's why we're here today. That's what we need. We need that just like every other major city in America. Our children are worth the same dollar amount, the same attention, the same dedication to their recreation as children in our surrounding counties and throughout the state of Maryland and this country. And now I'm going to shut up, and I am going to introduce to you a woman who has renovated and built more recreation centers in the city of Baltimore, despite what you will hear in the media, this side of William Donald Schaefer, who made some tough decisions to do what is right for our young people and not what adults think is right for our young people, what young people know is right and wanting better. Someone who today had a great, great victory with the opening of those 2 centers, Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. I want to take a second to thank Councilman Brandon Scott for your leadership and your advocacy as someone who knows of what he speaks. He is from our rec centers, believes in our rec centers, and I'm just very proud that you are willing to stand up and fight for our recreation centers. I'm happy to be here for this call to action to continue the progress of the Baltimore Recreation and Parks Facility Aquatics Plan. We've made tremendous progress over the past year and throughout my term as mayor. And I want to thank the residents, community organizers, public officials, and staff who have shown relentless support for our vision of transforming neighborhoods through recreation. But we need our voices to be heard in the chambers of the City Council. In order to continue this progress, my goal is to sell 4 public parking garages so that we can use the revenue to build more recreation centers and expand opportunities across the board for Baltimore residents. Before I came into office, our city was closing recreation centers without any substantive plan on how to fill the gaps. We're now 1 year into implementing our plan, and over the past 2 weeks alone, we've started renovating the Roosevelt Skate Park. We've opened a dog park at Howard Park. We've expanded services and renovations at both the Rita Church and the C.C. Jackson Recreation Center, and this is only the beginning. I knew that we could do better, and if our young people, and I knew that our young people in our communities deserve better. It pained me to see the recreation centers that we had become accustomed to, recreation centers that I certainly wouldn't want to send my child to, and I know as mayor, I can't for a second think that you should send your children to something I wouldn't send my daughter to. And I'm telling you, I can't wait for my daughter to use the C.C. Jackson Center or the Rita Church Center. They're gorgeous, they're state-of-the-art, and they're what Baltimore deserves across the board. So I'm calling on you. I've started an online petition to mobilize in the ways that residents like you do to demonstrate your support, where you can demonstrate your support. We have an online petition and a toolkit so that you can help us in this plan. Take it in your own hands, share it with your neighbors, and inform other residents about the city's mission. The process is simple. If you have a mobile phone, you can join me now by signing up to show your support. You can visit destinationgetactive.org. destinationgetactive.org. Scroll to the bottom of the page, locate the survey where you can also share your comments. Next week, I will share these signatures with our city council and urge them to schedule a hearing to review the plan and to offer feedback so we can work through the process of building consensus. I made some tough choices over the past 2 weeks to ensure that $4.2 million for after-school funding was available. And the plan that I've set forth is a sustainable solution that we can use to address and amplify our responses to meet the needs of Baltimore's residents by expanding opportunities for our young people. It's time for us to get active. It's time for us to get involved. It's time for us to stop looking around when this issue of inequity, the issue of injustice comes up, and people often say, you know, it's the man or somebody else that's holding us down or holding us back. But when we stand by and let the city council sit on this legislation for over a year, that's not the man or anybody else holding us down. That's them. Because they could have held this hearing, and we could have been well on our way to building more recreation centers for our young people. It is sickening and shameful that we have to have these young people out here begging for a hearing to do what we need to do. There is no reason why we can't go forward with a plan that would give us recreation centers that our city deserves. So I'm asking on you, go to the website, fill out the survey. We need to hear from you. It needs to be more than my voice and these young people's voices out here today. It needs to be all of Baltimore City saying that we deserve better for our young people. So with that, I want to thank and introduce our acting director of Baltimore City Recreation and Parks, Bill Vonderzak.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Councilman Scott. And how about another round of applause for the Gold Star? I want you guys to know my dad was a jazz drummer and he played percussion in the symphony, and so I was really getting into what you guys were doing. Want to let you know some of the folks on the stage up here with us. You know, we've got the Charm City Buccaneers, we've got football teams, we've got community leaders from Harbell on one side of the city to Reverend Hamby and Sandtown on the other side of the city. We've got parts of the leadership team from Recreation and Parks. You know, we've got Rashawn from Youth and Adult Sports, and Tracy over all the recreation centers, and Joanne and Kim from the seniors, and Bob Wall with 40 plus years of leadership in the Department of Recreation and Parks. And so we all, yeah, let's give them a round of applause. Woo! So I just wanted to let you know, give you some idea of the breadth of the Department of Recreation and Parks. We have 41 recreation centers. We have 23 pools. We have 262 parks. We have 120 playgrounds. We have hundreds of baseball fields, soccer and football fields, tennis courts, basketball courts, and the list goes on. And we can still do more. I want to thank Mayor's Rawlings-Blake for her continued support of Recreation and Parks and the vision that she's clearly laid out for improved fitness and wellness centers. Thank you, Madam Mayor. And at this time, I want to introduce Thelma Baker. Ms. Baker is a retired city school secretary who now works with the citywide Gold Steppers. Oh, Thelma Gaither. I'm sorry, Thelma. And then you're going to introduce Devante. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Good evening. On behalf of the Citywide Gold Star Marching Band that has been in existence since 2000 and is 16 years in the making, it is very important that we have more rec centers open for our youth to go to. It is a safe haven place for them to go, to play basketball, to be in the band, to do dance, to do karate, do whatever it is necessary to keep them off of the street. Many years I've been through the recreation and park centers at growing up, and I also understand what Councilman Scott was talking about. So the young people that you see here today need more recreation parks centers open to continue to keep them off the streets that are very dangerous in these days. Now I will introduce Cavante Gulliver.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Most of our recreation centers are now open, but I feel heartbroken that most of our city children are not doing activities. They out here on the streets, and I just wish that we have more places for them to go so they could do more activities, or just so they can have somewhere to go so they won't have to be bored or anything. They could do sports like football, karate, basketball. They don't even have to do that. They could just go to recreation centers. They could swim. They could just be there to talk to their friends. That's it.
Well, I think nothing else needs to be said after that. You know what the young people want. Thank you all for being here. I also would like to recognize Rob Walsh from Waltherson in Northeast Baltimore. Thank you all for being here today. But remember, don't just get excited when you leave here. Go fill out the petition. And remember, we don't care how we get there. But we must get to the end of that road with new recreation centers throughout the city of Baltimore. So sign the petition, tell your mama, lottie dottie, everybody that you want them to sign this petition so that we can have better recreation in our city. Thank you.